Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So, Bitcoin rocked today. The entire market got rocked by FUD. So, what's that about? I'm going to try to explain if I can. Also, I want to talk about this big news where a certain agency in the US declared the SEC unlawful, which is actually quite big. So let's talk about that as well. And let's talk about some good old meme coins. Just kidding. Just kidding. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there. Today was a rough day. It was a rough day for no apparent reason. Like, really, there was really no bad news. In fact, if anything, we got some good news because PacWest, I covered this morning, another regional bank, struggling hard. Went down 23%, right? So previous times, of course, when banks got weak, Bitcoin got stronger. So it was weird today that it didn't happen. So it could be because of something else that's kind of rocking or spreading FUD on everything. Maybe some sort of ceiling. Yeah, I think that's it. A lot of people are now taking this debt ceiling crisis very, very seriously. Even Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan warned that panic will overtake markets. Okay? And he's not the only one, because the U.S. defaults will be the first time in U.S. history we will get financial Armageddon. And people are really serious about this. I mean, it will be catastrophic. Even Fed Chair Powell said so. He's like, don't expect the Fed to save the U.S. dollar if that happens. Everyone's really panicked about this because now we're getting to, the final days. We got a couple weeks left. And if this does not get resolved, what will happen? What will happen when the greatest country on earth defaults and cannot pay its debts? And it's not just the debts, it can't pay a lot of things. Janet Yellen will have to start making cuts. She has to decide what to pay and what not to pay if the U.S. is no longer able to print more money and operate. Now, some would say just do it. Right? There are some that are saying just let the debt ceiling crisis come. Teach everyone a lesson. Maybe it'll teach the U.S. not to overspend anymore. Maybe we have to control our budget or force us to control our budget, which is all good. It's kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid, right? But when the Band-Aid is holding like a big hole and your blood is going to gush out, right? Like tearing off that Band-Aid maybe too much. Maybe you bleed out and destroy yourself because of it. It's kind of like in that situation. So I don't know. The only thing I could speculate right now is there's just so much fear over the debt ceiling. Like, what is going to happen? Look at it. The government credit default swaps, which is basically measuring whether or not a company can pay back its debts, right? And credit default swaps tend to go really high when companies are in danger of going under and not being able to pay back their debts. So the one that exists for the U.S. is record high because now there's people that are speculating that the U.S. will not solve this debt crisis issue and default, which would be really, really bad. Really bad indeed. So anyways, I think that's what's kind of holding down the market right now. I mean, the U.S. market didn't do well. You got banks that's still not doing well. Crypto's not doing so hot either, right? Everyone's just really panicked over this. Like, if this is serious and we're going to rip off the Band-Aid, what's going to happen to financial markets, right? Is everything going to collapse? We don't know. We got 2 more weeks to figure this out, or 2.5 weeks. Again, it amazes me that we always have to wait until the very end. We've been talking about this for 6 months now. 6 months, and now, it's become a big issue. Why is it within the last 6 months we don't talk about it? We don't try to solve it, right? Again, don't know. But anyways, even though Bitcoin's a little weak today, even though the crypto market is a little weak today, right? Crypto Quant says during their interview, they said that they talked to a lot of institutions and many intend to buy Bitcoin in 2023. And they're not the only ones saying this. Recently, I conducted Twitter Spaces just yesterday. One of my guests was Sue from HUD 8, and she even said she's been talking to a lot of these institutions, these big boys, right? And they're very interested in coming aboard. No one is not interested right now, right? We do have a lot of interest and everything else that's going on. I don't know if their interest is really because if it's really aligned with retail interest. Retail interest is either one, to make money, two is to preserve money by getting away from shenanigans and inflation, right? Institutions, they probably want to grow. They want to adopt and then expand upon their services and also make money. So it kind of aligns, right? I don't know if they're really concerned about bank failures or store value aspect of Bitcoin, but maybe. But there are a lot of institutions that are definitely looking to enter the space. And more will enter the space if we actually had an agency and the person that's leading this agency provide more guidance, which he has not. Michael Saylor says, clear crypto regulation with speed institutional adoption. Even though there's so many that's looking to come in and embrace blockchain and Web3 and Bitcoin fully, they can't because they don't really know what Gary Gensler is thinking. So today, actually, this is pretty monumental that you have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and this relates to the lawsuit between Coinbase and the SEC. So you have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which represents thousands upon thousands of companies in the U.S., not just crypto companies, but basically all companies in the U.S., right? They called out the SEC, and they said refusing to answer which digital assets are securities, right, is bad. They need to answer which ones are. You can't leave everything vague, and they go beyond that and say the SEC has been acting unlawfully, okay? That is a huge declaration. I don't know if the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has any control over SEC. Probably not. But when you have one agency within the U.S. calling out another one, I'm pretty certain there are people that are paying attention, right? So basically, to break it down, I mean, this person breaks it down pretty good. The SEC's actions are not harmful policy. They are unlawful. And there's three arguments. Regulatory uncertainty is killing innovation in the U.S., correct. The SEC is destabilizing digital asset regulatory environment, correct. The SEC is violating constitutional due process and fair notice rights, correct. The SEC, specifically Gary, thinks that he could just do whatever because there's no pushback, right? There's so much gray area, so he just like declares whatever and thinks that's the law of the land, but that's really not. Even Congress people have said that, right? Like Gary's going out of control. And now you have someone in the U.S., another agency, that basically declared what the SEC is doing unlawful. Think about that. So I would say that's a pretty good win. Although Gary is still in charge of SEC, but how long will that last, right? When everyone is pointing fingers at Gary, there has to be a lot of scrutiny and heat on him. You got to figure Biden has to know about this, although he has bigger problems because the debt ceiling is a much bigger problem. But, I mean, you got to figure the administration, is feeling some heat. Congress people are not happy about Gary. No one's really happy about what Gary's doing. We need to get that guy out. We need to get that man out. But regardless, you know what, Bitcoiners, we know this will pass. Gary's of the world will come and go, but Bitcoin will not. Bitcoin is here forever. And that is why if you look at addresses, this is a really cool metric, actually, from looking into Bitcoin. But you can see on top, addresses that's holding between 0.01 Bitcoin and above, 0.1 Bitcoin and above, and 1 Bitcoin above. You can see every single year, the number of holders keep on increasing. More and more and more and more, even though 2022 was actually a pretty bad year, grew by quite a lot. And of course, 2023, we're only halfway through, but you can see the number of holders continue to go up, right? From just casual people to the real serious people to whales and institutions. You know, this is part of the growing fundamentals that I talk about, okay? Fundamentals is not just based on price. It's based on holders, based on network activity, based on the exchange reserves, based on a lot of stuff, right? But the holders, addresses, continue to go up. So Bitcoin is doing good. Fundamentals have never been better. This one looks at the hash rate. Just keeps skyrocketing. I don't even know what word that is. I'm not going to say it, but I'm just going to concentrate on the hash rate, and it just keeps on going. And the miners are only getting stronger as well. They are not going away, not selling. Bitcoin is the scarcest asset we have, and that is why no one should be giving up on it, even though it's pretty stagnant. But you know what? This one actually looks at it from a macro perspective. You look at all the previous cycles before we had a big run up, there has been periods of stagnation. In fact, a 2-week candle stagnation. We saw it right before the big run up of 2012. We saw it right before the big run up in 2017, right? We saw it, the big run up right before the 2021 burst. So is this a precursor to the bull market like all these previous times? You can make the argument, yes. So don't let the stagnation or the FUD get to you. Okay, when in doubt, zoom out and pay attention, because we have seen these times before, and these previous times, you could argue, well, I will argue, were a lot more bearish than this time right now, right? So still a lot to look forward to. Don't give up. But it's not just Bitcoin. What about Ethereum? CZ pointed this out today. Despite all the FUD around Ethereum being a security, and everyone may withdraw and dump, the locked ETH right now is at an all-time high. There's more people staking now than ever before. And the funny thing is, back in 2018, when Vitalik kind of joked around that he wants to set a supply cap on Ethereum, people didn't think it was serious. But now he may get his wish, because even though Ethereum is not capped, there's so much burning going on that Ethereum has actually become deflationary, even more so than even Bitcoin at this point in time. So that's kind of interesting, right? And even though Ethereum's price has dipped a little bit, again below 1,700, the reserves lowest since 2015 on the exchanges. That's pretty low. 2015. That was when Bitcoin went down to like $100-something, and Ethereum, when did it come out? It came out around that time. So basically, the number of Ethereum on exchanges is almost equal to when it debuted. Like, it is really, really low. And why is that? Because people are locking it up. They're either staking, okay, or they're participating in liquid staking, or they have it in some liquidity pool, something like that, or they have it locked up somewhere else. I mean, there's a lot of people that are using Ethereum right now. That's why, yeah, the number of ETH locked in continues to go up. And look at this. And there's also another reason, is because people love using DEXs. Uniswap is crazy. Uniswap has more trading volume than Coinbase for 4 months in a row. 4 months. that means you could argue Uniswap is the biggest exchange in the US. And it's a DEX. So think about that. So if you don't know how to use a self-custody wallet, right, like Trust Wallet or ROX Wallet or any other wallet out there, well, you should learn. Because one of the great benefits, in addition to storing your own crypto and safeguarding it, is that you can use a DEX. You can use a decentralized exchange like Uniswap instead. That's pretty amazing if you think about it. Really, really amazing. Last two things. Some good news about Blockfi. Those people that store their crypto on Blockfi because they want to utilize their custody service, they could get their crypto out. So 300 million people that stored their crypto on Blockfi, not for interest, but for just custody service, they will be getting that back soon. That's really good. I know people ask about that, the latest news from Blockfi, so look forward to that. And then finally, yesterday, I covered how Coinbase sent out an email saying Pepe was for hate speech or something along those lines. Today, they backtracked, they apologized. Their chief legal officer came out and said, we were wrong, we didn't give the full context, and everyone likes this move that Coinbase, rather than attack Pepe, said they made a mistake. No damage done, I guess, but still. Maybe this is the reason why people are using Uniswap instead, because they don't want to deal with the likes of Coinbase. All right, that's pretty much it for today. Let's bring up CMC. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see. Scrolling down. They just need to remove the ceiling entirely. Sam, my neighbor argues that. It's like, hey, let's just remove it, right? Let's remove this worry every 2 years. But the thing is, it's put in place to try to force the government to be a little bit responsible, right? If you don't have the ceiling, you could print as much as you want forever, then, no one thinks about it. And then one day the whole thing's go freaking collapse. You can't expect to print infinite amount of money without consequences. Just look at all the other countries out there that suffer hyperinflation. Crazy hyperinflation, like inflation of 100% per year, and some even higher than that, right? That's what happens when you're irresponsible with money. So even though some say, well, I'll just remove the ceiling, don't worry about it, just remove it. That's not a really good long-term solution either. Do you think U.S. default will be worse than COVID? I think it would be. I think it'll be very, very bad. I think it would be bad. That's why I think there's a lot of fear right now. Even though we're not selling off that crazy, because I think most people, including myself, think that Congress at the last moment will approve to raise the debt ceiling. I think almost everyone thinks that this will happen. But what if there's that 1% chance or 0.1% chance that it doesn't get approved, right? If that happens, U.S. markets will crash and burn, like unlike anything we have ever seen, because the U.S. has never defaulted. So we don't know what it's going to look like. It could be absolutely catastrophic. That's why we have Bitcoin. If U.S. defaults on debt, how will it affect Bitcoin? Well, that's the $1 million or $1 billion question. I like to think the U.S. defaults, everyone will turn to Bitcoin because they will be so fed up and there's financial Armageddon that a lot more people will turn to Bitcoin, which is probably true. But there will be a lot of panic sellers too. Just look at the COVID crash. When we had that COVID crash, everything sold off. Even gold sold off. Everything sold off. So when there's massive panic, everything sells off, right? So even though I say if the U.S. defaults, long term, it's going to prove that we need something better, decentralized currency like Bitcoin, right? And it'll turn more people to it. But short term, if there's financial Armageddon, I think everything's going to sell off. Bitcoin's not going to be able to withstand that. In your opinion, to make a safe and solid 100K next bull run, do you think having 20,000 tokens in ADA is a good choice? I don't know what 20,000 ADA equals to. 20,000 in ADA is what? That's not that much. 36 cents times 20,000. That's only 7,200. So you're expecting to make $100,000 with $7,000 in ADA? Yeah, that's not going to happen, my friend. Lazaro, FUD, drama, manipulation, lies. Welcome to crypto. That's everywhere. Do I like Red Lobster? I don't have anything against it. I don't eat there often. There's better seafood places, but yeah. Can you check Pepe? You don't need me to check Pepe. You could check it yourself. Not looking so hot. And this morning I was checking ladies. Oh wow, surprising ladies still up. 100. This morning it was up like 4,000%, but it did drop from this morning. I think this morning is 140 million market cap. So I'm like, that's crazy. Oh, it just updated to 67. That's no good. But Pepe still down. 500 million market cap, though. Still no slouch. If Bitcoin hits 50,000 by July, what can ETH hit? Well, it'll be faster than Bitcoin. So that's like a roughly 2x. So Ethereum probably 2 to 3x. So I don't know, 5,000? 5,000, maybe a little bit more. When do you think we can start moving again upwards? Maybe, after the debt ceiling crisis is over. That's only in a couple weeks. Certainly we could start moving forward there. And we have another FOMC meeting in June, right? If there's no more rate hikes, that could also trigger it. There's a lot of things that could trigger it. $5 ADA is not unreasonable. That's more than 10x. It's not unreasonable. It could certainly get there. But I still think it's unlikely. I don't know. Who knows? Bull runs are crazy. Things pump when they're not supposed to. And they reach certain levels they're not supposed to reach. Who knows? Who knows where it could go? Carnivorous Gray. Luxo will be a top 20 coin. People are sleeping on new standards. You can reject transactions. Why would you want to reject transactions? Isn't that part of censorship in a way? I don't know if that's actually a good thing. Why is no one talking about ordinals? The last 2 days I've been talking about ordinals. So, no, I am talking about it. It's just you're not tuning in to the right times. Let's just leave this up. MA competition, it looks good. Never driven it, so I don't know. But BMWs all drive pretty well. So, I'm pretty sure M8s go drive really good. I just feel like the price of the M8, at that price level, they're just like better cars. I can't see myself buying anything over 100K from BMW. I just feel like at that price range, you just go like look at Porsches or exotic cars for that matter. I can't imagine anyone buying like 100, like the new XM. It's like $175,000. I can't imagine anyone buying that. I think that's gonna be a 100% flop for BMW, and it looks hideous to be honest. And it's not as fast as EV cars either. So I don't know, anything from BMW over 100K, I'm like, there are better options. Did you hear about Hosky? No, I did not. Did not look at that. Do I like Ford Mustang GTs? I haven't driven the new one. The old one's okay, but not the greatest. I got done testing a Corolla GR. That is a fun car. It's a fun little car, very practical, decently fast, but more importantly, it's a load of fun. Like those hot hatches are really fun to drive. So Corolla GR is actually highly recommended. I like it better than a Supra. XRP $5 easily doable a week after winning. I don't know about week, but it's certainly doable. I mean, they hit almost $4 in the last peak, so I don't know about after a week. Does Cardano work with Flux by using their nodes? Yes. Yes, they do. How would you protect your wealth in the event of a major financial crisis? I don't know. Temporarily, I guess you have to hold cash, right? Because everything else, anything that's investment will dump. So I hate to say it, but temporarily, if you know there's a major crash coming, you got to hold cash. That's the reality of it. But long term, we know cash devalues itself due to inflation, right? So long term, you want to hold assets. But short term, temporary, emergency situations, it's all about cash. I have not driven the new Golf R yet or the new Civic Type R. I've driven the old R, both old Rs, which are fantastic, but the new Corolla GR is really good. Really good. Is it better than a Golf R or a Civic Type R? I don't know until I drive those. I don't know about it's hard to beat the new Escalade. I like the Escalade V, but there are certainly problems. You know, the smoothest riding SUV so far that I've tested, it's still the Grand Wagoneer. The Grand Wagoneer looks hideous, but in terms of just how smooth it is, it's the the best I've ever tested. Even better than Escalade, better than Mercedes. So, but no one wants to spend $100,000+ on a Jeep. And Wagoners, to be honest, are hideous looking. Jay, I think you're lying about that, so I'm not going to address you. I sold my 1998 Honda Prelude for Pepe. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it'll work out. Describe gains in a bull run with one word. Parabolic. Unbelievable. One of those two. When am I coming to London? I would love to visit London. I just don't have an excuse to go to London. But I would love to visit Europe. I visited when I was a teenager, but I didn't really do anything. But I'd love to visit Europe, especially England. Gambler Degen, stop asking about Flux and Cadena. It's kind of getting annoying. You know my position. You've been here long enough. I like Cadena. So, there you go. Flux, I think it's okay. I have nothing against him. What did the SEC say? I don't think they answered this. I don't think they like being accused of being unlawful. All right, guys, let's conclude. SEC declared unlawful by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is great. Elon is stepping down as CEO. I didn't cover that, but thought I should mention that. PacWest is still down. Bank weakness is still a thing. You know, there's still a lot of FUD out there, guys, but better days are coming. So, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.